Good evening and welcome to the Green Room, and many thanks to Louise there, and I know she's still around the building somewhere, she's waiting, and we're going to have a wee chat later on. There's a couple of things we've discussed about summertime, about her singing, but I have some news about Louise singing where you can see her live, but I'll tell you about that in a few moments. Right, we've got Kavan Donohue with us tonight, and we've got Kevin Allen coming on later on, so a very mixed programme, and we've Kavan here, and he's brought his harp with him. Anyone who had a harp, look at me. Kavan, you're very welcome.
Thank you, Paul.
The harp is fabulous. It looks absolutely gorgeous.
Beautiful harp, yeah. Larry Fisher made that. Canada.
Who?
Canada. Larry Fisher, all the way from Canada.
That came from...
Yeah.
Harps are handmade.
Yeah, absolutely. Every little bit of it.
It is absolutely
all them
beautiful.
strings are put on one by one. So.
How long are you playing? How long are you playing it?
Playing it 10 years now. So started when I was 8. I'm nearly 12 years old. Actually, I'm 20 now. I went 20 there in April. So.
Any harm to ask you how much?
Oh.
If you're not allowed to say, it's okay.
I'm not allowed to say.
No, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
That's the best one you can get now. So it is a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot of money, and it's insured and everything else.
Oh yeah.
But harp players, you know, very few and far between.
Yeah, well, a lot of people. There's not a whole pile of harpers in Cavan, but in Ireland there is a lot of harpers. You know, there is.
So who teaches you the harp?
I don't have anyone teaching me at the moment, but I started off in the Granard Harp School with Josie O'Rourke in Granard, under Kim Fleming and Tracy Fleming, and that was on a Saturday morning, so I played for Cavan Gaels or whatever, and I couldn't go to training because of that. So
what a blessing.
Yeah. But I wish I was still playing, but yeah, so I started off in Granard, and then I moved on then to the Rooney family in Monaghan.
Yes.
And so that was just down the road as well, so I was looking up, there was good source of harp teachers in the area sort of, but there was no one in Cavan as such that was playing the harp or teaching the harp, so I'm teaching the harp now in Cavan. I'm teaching in the house and in the academy there, the Cavan Academy of Music, but there was no one really in Cavan playing, and there's only a few youngsters really coming to it now. There's not too many.
Well, you've started a trend.
I've started a trend now. It's definitely picked up now in the last few years.
It's a heavenly instrument. Give us one of them. Give us one of them now. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
it's absolutely
it's really
beautiful.
heavenly sound. Yeah. It's very relaxing, you know. It's very popular at the weddings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do
and you do weddings, don't you?
Oh yeah, I do weddings. We do harp at the church and harp at the reception and harp and flute, and we do bands. You know, we do call the girls.
Right, suppose someone out there's getting married, right?
Yeah.
Whoever's getting married, and they say, "Oh, something different. We'll have a harp." How do they contact Kavan Donohue?
We're on Facebook. It's Cavan Wedding Music on Facebook. We're on email cavanmusiclive@gmail.com. And we're doing the wedding fairs. You get our flyers around different shops in different places, but mostly on Facebook and your email cavanmusiclive@gmail.com.
And is it? I'm sure brides are going, oh my god.
Yeah. Oh, we're very popular at the weddings now. Over the summer now, I'm doing quite a few weddings. We're up in Cabra and we're in Kilmore and in the Crystal. So.
Right, Kavan. Suppose someone come to you and said, right, I want you to play such and such at my wedding.
Yeah.
Something totally random, not harp music.
If there's enough time, we'll learn it. You know, we do our normals, as you know, Packables Canon and all that sort of stuff. But we get Braveheart and. Whistles or the Inland Pipes as well. We do, like, if there's enough time given, we can learn them off, and we get everything and anything
Titanic.
else, you know. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh no!
Yeah, absolutely.
No, ban it.
Not a bother. No, absolutely not. Everything. Haste to the wedding, chorus, absolutely everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
So you're practically doing the whole lot.
Yeah, we can do anything. Yeah, you know. So, but we don't do the late night, obviously, the big band stuff. But everything else, the tea and coffee stage. And
right, we're gonna get you to play a little tune for us. It's not gonna be the normal harpy tune though, is it?
No, it's not your typical harp tune.
And it made me bring in sticks. So I want the camera off me for this bit, right? Listen, I'm gonna get Kavan here to do.
This is dangerous now. This is dangerous.
Kavan, just give us the website again before.
So it's cavan.me, www.cavan.me. So it's with a K. KAVAN and .me, M-E, not I-E, just kavan.me, and you can there's a little tab there with weddings, and we've all our sound files there, and we have all our information about the instruments we supply and what we do, and give us an email then as well at kavanmusiclive@gmail.com. So, or harp lessons, get it on kavan.me as well.
Good man. And he has a CD out as well.
Yes.
And the CD's got practically everything on it, hasn't it?
Yeah. It's got
And
harp and pipes and bouzouki and whistles, and
Cavan from Cavan.
that's it, yeah.
That's
Can be bought
excellent.
off the website, and it's on iTunes. So we're about to play a piece that's on the CD, but it doesn't sound anything like the CD here. This is acoustic. This
Right.
is real acoustic here, but on the CD it's much more crazier. So you'll have to download the track.
So, what are you going to do for it? It's like Stars and Rise. You say, tonight, Paulie, I'm going to do what?
Clocks by Coldplay. Yes.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. This is
Yes,
Cavan Donohue. And song you definitely wouldn't hear on the harp normally.
And then we might do a reel after it if you're for a Paul.
Right, we'll see how we got
See
on.
how you get on.
Cavan Donohue, ladies and gentlemen. That's absolutely gorgeous, Cavan.
That was
Absolutely
lovely, Paul, as well.
brilliant.
That's where we practiced.
Brilliant.
This is classic.
This is the business. Thanks a million for
Most
coming in.
welcome.
An
Thanks for having me
absolute
on. Thank you.
pleasure. And as he said himself, they go on Facebook and look at his website, everything. And of course, he doesn't need any introduction. He is, of course, Martin Donohue's
Multi-sound
son.
as well. Multi-sound.
And the CD's available in multi-sound. Cavan, thanks very much
Thank
for
you,
coming in.
Paul. Thanks for
Brilliant.
having me.
We'll have you in again. No doubt you could be
Hopefully.
going. You could be going anywhere.
I'm here for the summer, so
You're here for the summer. You never know where you could be. You could be at the Super Bowl or
I could be here.
the Olympics or the Jubilee or anything you like.
Italy. Well, we're going to Italy now with the band as well. So the Cavan from Cavan Crew is heading to Italy. And we're heading to Switzerland in July, and then we'll be back for the Flas. So.
Cavan Donohue, ladies and gentlemen. Cavan Donohue, lovely stuff. Well done, Martin and Angela. You should be very, very proud of him. Lovely lad. Now, tomorrow night in Chapter 1, C. O'Neill and company are playing. Louise O'Reilly will be singing with them. Now, they will be doing this song. I don't know if Fergal's going to be with them or not. But here's a look at C. O'Neill and company. Get down to Chapter 1 tomorrow night. After this, we'll have Kevin Allen in for a chat. So have a look at this.
So what am I gonna be when I grow up? What am I gonna believe and who am I gonna trust? I'll have a go at being myself, but I know I'm gonna turn into you. I look like you and I think like you. Maybe that's why I fight like you.
Come tell me now, come tell me now, come tell me now. Come me now, come tell me now, come tell me now.
You didn't walk to school in bare feet to watch us dwindle and cry and not stand up for ourselves because we're too nice and too shy. I won't be led by a government that only looks after its pals. I'm gonna plough my own field, grow my own mind. Some days I wonder what I'm here for, and some days I understand completely. My blinkered view of what's important and my perspective distorted. I come out of a fog, seeing the wood for the trees, allowing me clarity, purpose and ease. Existential angst permeates our society. A sense of hopelessness threatens our children. I believe that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word in reality. Isn't that what you're looking for when it comes down to it? Anyway.
Come tell me now, come tell me now, come tell me now. Come tell me now, come tell me now, come tell me now.
They say every creation is a victory over fear, and every thought we have is creating our future. Every good man is free. Dumb Spiro Sparrow. Tomorrow's gonna be what tomorrow's gonna be.
Could I have another story and will you tell it like it's real and happening? A prayer I fall asleep, I don't dream of my teeth and begin. No hands,
No hands.
no
Look down. No hands. What's the point in worrying when we know we're gonna die? So where does your
Bazooki.
Brilliant stuff. Chapter 1 tomorrow night, and Louise, right? Bye, Louise. Bye, bye, bye. We'll see Louise tomorrow night. Louise is in Chapter 1, the only gig in this area worth going to. Absolutely fantastic. C. O'Neill and company doing the CD. Shane O'Connor will be there. I think Peter Denton will be there as well. I'll be there. We'll all be there supporting it, so make sure you get down. Chapter 1. Special Chapter 1 next 2 weeks' time. I'll tell you more about that next week. Now, my next guest, you name it, he's done it. Producer, director, actor, ice skater, tobogganist, stationery salesman,
Pig farmer.
pig farmer.
Right.
And he's movie producer. He's appeared with the Spice Girls. He's been on the Thin Blue Line, French and Saunders. You name it, he's been on it. And he's here to talk about himself tonight, for a change, because we've got him on the other side of the camera. Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Allen's with us here. Kevin, very good evening, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Kevin, we're going to go right back to the 80s.
Okay, that's a long way.
Not that I remember the 80s now. I'm
It's
just
30 years.
30 years. So I was 5.
Yeah, right.
Kevin, how did it all kick off for you? Was it the comic strip?
No,
What was
no,
before
no,
that?
no, I don't know. Kick off. I don't know. I went to drama college when I was about 17, 1977. Brought up in Wales mainly. National Youth Theatre Wales Drama School. Kind of punk came along in '79,
Yeah.
and I hung the tights up really to go out and watch the Clash and the Sex Pistols, and acting wasn't really what it was about then. It was all about the sort of the punk thing and squatting and having
Did you play in a
fun.
punk band or anything like that, or did you?
No, I sang in a band a little bit later on to get my equity card. Actually, it was difficult to get an equity card then. Sort of catch-22, where you had to get a job in engagement to get a card. You needed a card to get a job, so it was a very sort of hard thing to get. So I had a band called the Luke Llanelli Swing Band, and we did gigs at the Tunnel Club and all around London.
Were you the singer?
And yeah, I was a singer. I did sort of crooning, sort of Engelbert Humperdinck songs and Frank Sinatra songs.
And was this
Really
in
crap.
Wales now?
It got me. This is in London.
In London.
Yeah, and I was driving a cab at the time. I'd kind of, I wasn't interested in acting. I'd done my training. I drove a cab at night, a mini cab, which was great fun for about a year. It was a fantastic time. Whilst, seeing bands, I'd just sort of turn off the radio, go and see Joy Division, get back in the cab, drive through the night, do an airport run, go home to sleep in Graham Greene's empty house in Notting Hill, which we squatted, and they were great days, fantastic days. And then I started growing up a bit, and needed to earn
And the acting
money.
bug came back, did it, or did the drama bug?
Yeah, acting came back. I got into theatre, and I did plays like Howard Brenton stuff, The Unseen. No, it was Berlin Bertie at the Royal Court, with directed by Danny Boyle. I did a season at the Haymarket. A Dawn French. No, it was a Ben Elton play written by Ben. Dawn French was a star. I co-starred with her for 7 months.
Kevin, I have to ask you, how did you get to know all these people? Or was it the same situation? Was it you were all poor together, or...?
Well, my brother Keith was part of that sort of early,
Scene.
late 70s alternative comedy explosion at the Comedy Store, the original Comedy Store, where there was no such thing as alternative comedy. There's all the old school Les Dawson and what have you, and a guy called Tony Allen put that together. Keith was very much part of that group. Keith's a lot older than me, and that got them all careers, really. The Comic Strip Presents came out of that, and I got kind of smaller parts and watched what was going on, and I never took it that seriously, but it was a great sort of learning ground for me to observe. And by that time I'd got the bug to really wanted to write and direct at some point. I knew
And the comic strip and that whole thing was groundbreaking, wasn't it? It
it was. It
changed
changed comedy. I think it's it got them all careers. Keith, in all fairness, my brother, he was one of the few who didn't go that route, and even though he is my brother, I've got to admit he was a special talent amongst that group, in that he was genuinely dangerous, and that's kind of, I don't know, it's what's degenerated out of that alternative comedy scene. It's all become very safe and almost corporate.
It's
now.
become the norm now.
Yeah, and there's nothing dangerous about it. I mean, I think a real alternative comedian, a real stand-up comedian lives in danger of going nuts or killing himself. I think Keith reached that point where, Keith was either brilliant or crap. There was no in between, and I think that's a lesson in life that I've certainly taken from him in terms of always trying to avoid mediocrity and middle of the roadness. I certainly learned that from him. Keith was a great stand-up, and he lived on stage or he died.
Yeah.
And he reached a point one day, he came by, I remember the day he came, he said, I can't do this anymore, this is nuts. I'll end up like Tony Hancock or something. And you can, I can see how they fall into that classic tragic
Which is what
kind
happens,
of cliche of great comedians kind of topping themselves, So anyway, I was watching at that time, and I was knocking around, and I was doing a lot of theatre and getting telly parts. I did the Oz Trial with Hugh Grant and good stuff. I was kind of enjoying it, and I always had one eye in the sort of late 80s. I knew I wanted to direct.
Yeah.
I wanted to, make documentaries, direct movies. That's what I really wanted to do, and I never really took acting that seriously. I kind of enjoyed it, but I always felt that if you didn't get Hamlet, I didn't really see the point.
Yeah.
It's a lot of time hanging around in trailers and doing very little. And I watched and I observed, and I got jobs as a runner on movies. I did everything that assistant directing and stuff, and just kind of got to know the language of film. And I just knew what I wanted to do, and I was biding my time, really, having to do acting work to pay the mortgage. I think the last serious acting thing I did was The Thin Blue Line with Rowan Atkinson, Ben Elton's thing. And it paid the mortgage. It was down the road at the BBC, and it was okay. I enjoyed it.
But you got a big break in around 1990.
1990 was the start of my documentary
thing,
career.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. I pitched an idea to Welsh television. I speak Welsh as a second language, and I pitched an idea to S4C in Wales. I had a contact in Naples where Maradona was about to win the second Scudetto for Naples,
Right.
and Pip Milan. They kind of hate each other.
Yeah.
Naples, Milan. And I was informed there's going to be this amazing weekend, and I'd never seen anything like it. And they commissioned me. I took what was state of the art then. It was a little yellow Canon underwater camera, and did a half-hour documentary in Welsh about the sensation of football in Naples. And I had a contact with Maradona, and I met him, and it was all kind of weird mafioso stuff.
Were you winging it though? Were you chancing?
I was a big soccer fan, huge soccer fan. It was a great break, and it was the start of what we call post-production documentary making, which is very different to paper cut documentary. Before they used to write documentaries and then fill in the gaps with pictures, and this new fly on the wall, shoot from the hip vernacular was beginning. And I was in at the start of that, and that went down really well. As a Welsh language half hour, and someone alerted me to this new sensation on the BBC called Video Diaries.
Yes.
And they said, you should get along, the World Cup's coming up. And I was looking for a way of getting to the World Cup. And I pitched it, and I became a video diarist on that. And little did they know that, really and truly, it was for the average punter to go around with a camera.
Yeah.
And we signed a contract, and the idea was that you have full editorial control, which was their biggest nightmare. Because I ended up with 150 hours of material, a sensational story. I followed English football hooligans for 5 weeks.
Did you think, Kevin? This is the jackpot?
No, not really, because I didn't think like that. It was a great. Yeah, it was a great. I mean, can you imagine being a big football fan, going to the World Cup and getting sort of paid for it, and doing what you love, which is, I wanted to direct, I wanted to make films. So I ended up with a 2-hour documentary, which went down really well with the BBC, and they then gave me a documentary of my choice, sort of every year. So I split acting and making documentaries. I made another one on the Rugby World Cup, and these weren't documentaries about kicking footballs or rugby balls. They were about the social landscape of sport and the psychological aspects of mass sporting. So there were politics involved, which I love, and so it was just a dream, really. Doing stuff like that. I did another one on mass murder in Glasgow. That was pretty heavy.
Great, that was
to the core.
Bit of light entertainment.
One for the family. That was a miscarriage of justice thing. So I was really enjoying myself, and then Janet Street Porter came along. She was running youth TV, and football was really becoming very, very popular. And there was a show called Standing Room Only, which I presented, that was a dream.
Yes.
Because I literally had to go down the road to the BBC from Notting Hill once a week. And I met all my footballing heroes and played five-a-side with them. And
who were they? Because I know there's a lot of soccer people watching tonight that be saying, "You didn't ask him."
I interviewed Pele in Japan, Beckenbauer in Munich, Butragueño in Madrid. The only one I didn't meet was Best.
Georgie.
Charlton. I interviewed them all. We had a piece each week. The all-time greats in interview, and you can imagine. I mean, getting paid to go around the world and football matches.
Fantastic.
And I remember I had a BBC staff card, and the end digit on the year was smudged, so I used that for the next 10 years. Yeah. And my mates and me used to, if I wanted to see a football match anywhere in Europe, we'd just send a fax off to the press office and get in the car.
Brilliant.
And scam the whole thing. It was fantastic. So that was Video Diaries, and that was a big that was my route into writing, really.
And so then you went on from the sport thing into
the Video Diaries. That was documentaries, and I was still acting, and I'd got kind of friendly with Danny Boyle from him directing me at the Royal Court, and he was doing Train Spotting with Andrew MacDonald.
You're in Train Spotting.
I am, but purely for
the crackers.
Bit of a laugh, exactly. So I started writing my first feature, set in Swansea, Twin Town, and they took a look at it, and it was a toss-up between Handmade Films and Polygram, and we went with Polygram, and they greenlit it, financed it, and that was my feature film, movie debut. And I didn't act again. That was what I'd worked for. I mean, that was what it was all about. And then
Kevin, you're a documentary in itself.
well, not really.
You've experienced
it's been pretty varied, I must say. You know, I live in Scots House, County Monaghan now.
Yeah, but
you know,
that's what happens, though, isn't it? You get far from the manning room.
Yeah, I've always looked at. I don't know. I've always looked at life and sort of. I remember having this conversation with my brother a long time ago, and breaking it down into 5-year chapters.
Yeah.
I think that's quite a useful thing to do if you're up for it.
Yeah.
I mean, and you know, 5-year chapters are really good chunks of time to set your goals and try and achieve them. And then I could never just do the same thing. You know, I got bored in Hollywood and.
Got bored in Hollywood.
Really?
No, he's talking about Hollywood, California. That's not Hollywood County. It's not down the road. He's talking about the Hollywood sign, the Marlboro Man, the lot. Kevin, we're going to have to bring you right up to date now, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about the Flat Lake film.
The Flat Lake film is...
Now,
yes.
before we get into this, I wanted to come back some evening and we're going to have a whole half an hour with Kevin Allen because it's absolutely brilliant. It's fascinating to talk to, fascinating story. And I know everybody out there that's watching is loving it. Everyone that is watching, and I'm loving it too. And I'd love to hear more in-depth stuff. But we have to fast forward to now.
All right.
Because I want to hear about the Flat Lake film.
Flat Lake film. The Flat Lake film is... it's... The Flat Lake film has come out of the Flat Lake Festival that we started, Pat McCabe and myself started the Flat Lake 5 years ago, and it kind of just went from strength to strength, and it mushroomed into this kind of thing. We never meant to be just a festival. It wasn't.
Was it Frankenstein? Was it?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, though. You know, was it the monster?
It was alchemy. It was just kind of. It was just. I don't know. Two heads getting together, and we were like kids in a toy shop. And there was something about two sort of artists running a festival rather than an events company running a festival for money. You know, it was just a wacky idea, and Pat's Radio Butty thing was just, you know, part of it, and I love doing all. It just we never wanted it just to be about tents and wellies and campfires.
Yeah.
It's more than that. We want it to be about, you know, maybe TV, radio, publishing, recording, anything. It's just about bringing artists together and communicating, and we felt that. I especially felt that I didn't want anything to do with the established kind of arts world or the institutionalized arts kind of setup. And my films have never been, my films have been studio funded films. I've never.
You're an independent filmmaker.
Yeah, but I've never gone cap in hand, and I've never expected public funding. You know. Yes, it's art, but films, you know, you need people to go and see them, and they've got to earn their keep, and they cost a lot of money to make. So unless you can sell it and people go and watch it, what's the point? I mean, having said that, art film deserves a place as well.
And is Flat Lake the movie? Is it an art film? Is it?
Yeah, I suppose.
It's not
I don't know. It's the Flat Lake movie, now called The Ballad of Honky McSwain,
Right.
is a 1 hour 40-minute feature film written by Pat McCabe and myself. We were just, I'd kind of left filming behind, and you know, I'd been farming pigs and rearing kids here, and just took myself out of that whole thing. And I was roasting a pig at Adair Manor last year for a friend of mine who's made a very successful company in LA and New York, a production company. An old friend of mine from LA, Corkman actually. And
do we know the name? Drop
the
the name.
His name's Brian Carmody. In fact, he's just had a huge hit on Broadway, the Once musical.
Yeah.
Has just done great business. It's a commercials company, and we were in the Jacks at, I don't know, 5 a.m. I'd cooked him a pig. That was my wedding present to him. Was a cooked pig at Adair Manor, and we were in the Jacks, 5 o'clock, very drunk, and he said, "You wanker, you know, why don't you?" Twin Town was
him already.
Twin Town was a great film, you know, you wanker. Why, you know, all right, the pigs and the kill, all right, fair enough, but you've got to make film. I was like, oh, that's a bollocks. And he said, if I put the money on the table, $150 grand,
Yeah.
you could do what you like, make a movie. And I thought about it for about a minute.
Yeah, 2 seconds.
And,
I thought about it.
no, I didn't know. Funny enough, I
Bring
didn't.
me, Brian.
I thought about it for a while because I went to my wife because we've made a very different life change, and you don't just up everything and make movies. It doesn't work.
Lovely Laura.
It's a lot of work and a lot of time. And we talked about it, and it's going to be tough to make. It sounds like a lot of money. It's not.
Yeah.
To make a feature film that's going to compete in the market for 150 grand is insane.
Yeah.
I've never made one for less than $4 million, and we did it somehow.
When's it out, Kevin?
Don't know. We've got to sell it. I mean, it's. I finish editing it in 3 weeks. It'll go to sales agents. Ready for a distribution strategy. It'll be out.
Sales agents. What is that to the?
Well, it's one thing. Making films, selling films is another.
Yeah.
When you make a studio film, for Warner Brothers or.
Does it become product then? Do you have to
It's
sit
all
with people
products.
and say,
Yes.
right, have a look at this, tell me
Yes,
what you think,
yes,
you're going
yes.
to sell it?
Yes.
You like it?
Yes. I mean, it's a huge machine. Making a movie is just one bit of it. Selling it is.
But could somebody come along like Studio Canal or Warner Brothers or whoever and say, hey, hold on, this is for general release. This is bloody good.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of how it works, Jane. Unless all my films have been for studios with an inbuilt distribution mechanism. Yeah, that's how it works. I mean, the mainstream distributors pick up movies at various marketplaces. And
Here's hoping they do.
We're thrilled with it. It's bonkers, and it's very, very watchable bonkers.
We look forward
Lovely
to it
young
coming out.
actress called Kim McCafferty.
We know Kim. Kim's coming on
Very
soon.
little experience, is a sensation in it. I mean, really and truly, we're thrilled with it.
Any rough time when it be out? End of summer?
Yeah, I mean, at the earliest. I mean, I've got to deliver
Yeah.
it first. There's a whole distribution strategy and stuff. Yeah, at least autumn.
Well, we wish you the best of luck with it.
Thank you
Anyway.
very much.
And unfortunately, we have to wrap it up because Laura's on next, and she's dying to get on. I could talk to Kevin all night, and there's so much more. I'd love to talk to him about his TV career. Like I said, he was in Thin Blue Line. Everything that was on in the 80s and 90s, he was in it. And he was telling me about his liaisons with the Spice Girls, which was fascinating. But we promised we'll have Kevin back on. Hopefully we'll have Pat McCabe on as well. And I think we have Keith coming on in a couple of weeks' time, so maybe we'll get the whole gang together. And
Yeah, that's a good idea.
it'll be a great laugh. Kevin, it's been absolutely fantastic
You're
having you
welcome.
on.
Thank you for having me.
Oh no, we'll have you again, definitely. That's all for tonight on the Green Room. Laura's coming up next, and she has the community focus. So I'll be back next week, and I have to contact my management, who are out there now at the moment, to see who's on next week, because they don't tell me. They just leave it in their safe hands. So until next week, from myself, Paul Cox, Kevin Allen, thanks very much to Kevin Donohue. Don't forget to get a CD. I'll bring this one home. And everybody, Hobo, the luckiest cat in the world, I think, is coming on. So I'm being told next week. So until then, thanks very much.